Hello everyone, it's the Effort Avenger here with another album review, and this time I'm reviewing Tyler the Creator's Cherry Bomb. This is of course one of several album covers, but I decided to pick the one that I thought was the coolest. It is a gatefold, you can see on the inside. It actually has two of the other kinds of covers, this one and this one, and if you open it up some more, you get... Just give me a second. This neat poster with Cherry Bomb #1. There's Tyler with his little Cherry Bomb helmet, and there's a car, nice and swaggy. Everything on the other side, you have lyrics over here. Can't really see them because they're tiny and kind of see-through, and there's a picture of his jacket and everything, so yeah. Anyways, this album was released April 13th of last year, 2015. Some chart information: it peaked at number 4 on the US Billboard 200 and number 1 on the US Billboard Top R&B Hip Hop Albums chart. It was released on the labels Odd Future, which of course is Tyler's own label, and Red or RED distribution. And its singles are Effing Young and Death Camp. So without further ado, let's get this started. Last year, leader of hip-hop collective Odd Future, Tyler the Creator released a project that made a lot of people turn their heads in his direction, as he had all of a sudden taken a new path and a new approach to his music. What was especially unusual, though, was how there were almost no features or appearances by any of the members of Odd Future except for Sid the Kid and sorta kinda Lionel Boyce. On many of his past albums, he would have the likes of Damo Genesis, Earl Sweatshirt, Haji Beats, Left Brain, Mike G, etc. on his songs. During this time, a lot of people speculated that they had broken up, and even worse, there was some animosity within the group. Both Tyler and Earl Sweatshirt respectively sent out tweets regarding the issue, stating that everyone is still friends, it's just that everyone is doing their own thing. If you've seen my review of Earl Sweatshirt's I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside album, or have just heard the album for yourself, you can also see that he doesn't have any features by Odd Future members as well. In fact, he only has 4 featured rappers on the entire album, period. Now, with this album, Tyler managed to set himself apart from a lot of his older work. It's safe to say that if your favorite album before this one came out was Goblin, or his mixtape Bastard, then you might not really get a kick out of this one. If your favorite album was Wolf, however, it might be easier to enjoy this album. The reason why this album is so much different from his predecessors is because of the shift in primary focus. The majority of this album focuses on Tyler accepting that he has become a leader to the youth, and instead of just doing random things with his life as he once was, he's decided to take a stand and live his life to the absolute fullest. This is exemplified on the tracks Buffalo, Pilot, and Find Your Wings especially. The idea here is that he's taking control, and you'll see this a good deal throughout the album. The opening track, Death Camp, is mainly talking about Tyler's rise to fame and prominence and how he actually doesn't like it very much. From the opening line, "Excuse me, but could you please turn down the lights," insinuates that he doesn't like cameras flashing on him and things of that nature. Even the title, Death Camp, is a metaphor for fame. In the song, he's also giving a tutorial for famous people, such as when he's saying that you have to pose for that camera, basically saying that fame is like going to a death camp for your character. One line that stood out for me a lot in this song is when he says that In Search Of, an album by the band Nerd, which Pharrell is in of course, did more for him than Illmatic, the classic album by Nas, and saying that that's when he realized that they're not cut from the same fabric. In other words, Tyler wants to go about things in a different way than your typical rapper. Many rappers and just people in general were highly influenced by Illmatic, and it's often regarded as the best hip-hop album ever made. However, the fact that Tyler finds greater influence and enjoyment out of an album that's actually rather obscure by a group a lot of people don't even know actually exist, really says something about the kind of person Tyler is. Critics even stated that this track bears a striking resemblance to the Nerd track Lap Dance from the self-titled album. Buffalo is really just Tyler addressing a great deal of things, such as the idea that he's a homophobe, even though one of his best friends is a bisexual, Frank Ocean, as well as the Mountain Dew commercial that he created, which was deemed racist by Boyce Watkins. This is also the first track where he addresses his position as a leader. In the last section, he asks how many leaders in the house, and then, answers his own question by saying nobody's got their hands up, see, that's the issue. Not only that, he also addresses black stereotypes such as the only way a young black person can escape the hood is by becoming a rapper, a basketball player, being in jail, or shot and killed. The song samples Shake Your Booty by Bunny Sigler, which is where that "You Feel Alright" comes from. The beat changes up frequently with heavy drums to piano and synths. Throughout the track, Dash radio MC Shane Powers constantly reminds Tyler not to mess up with his leadership, and he should be wary of his influence on the youth. Pretty nice track. Pilot is, for some reason, a track that a lot of people seem to not like, but perhaps one of my favorite tracks on the entire album. However, this is really the first time we run into a major issue on the album: the sound. A lot of people have panned this album for many different reasons, but one of the main reasons was because of the sound mixing being awful on several of the tracks. Pilot was one of the major offenders, while the title track was perhaps the biggest offender of all. Simply, this track is mainly talking about what Tyler said before about being in control of his life and literally flying with it. Some of the lines that really stuck out to me were, "I don't want to crash anymore, I just want to soar through the space, let the wind hit my face till there's nothing left in the gas tank, and that's why I'm in first class but I feel like Coach," likening his life to seats on a plane. Extremely clever. As you can see, Tyler is sick of spending his life not doing much or just wasting it doing a bunch of stupid stuff for the sake of doing stupid stuff. He says that he doesn't want to crash anymore, meaning that he doesn't want his life to be wasted anymore. He also says he's in first class but he feels like Coach, meaning that he knows he's rich, famous, and popular, but he feels like less of a person because of all the time he's been wasting, as well as being rich and famous. These themes continue for the next couple of tracks. Now, back to the part about the sound. Several tracks on the album have the backing tracks so turned up that they cover up the vocals almost entirely. Tyler's vocals on Pilot are just barely understandable. You'll see this a great deal on the title track, which of course is coming soon, but I would definitely say that this and Cherry Bomb were the biggest offenders of all, and this left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, unfortunately. Run is a really short track that simply talks about how Tyler isn't going to be hanging out with the wrong kind of crowd, and he doesn't need people who are looking for approval from others or just pretending. Again, Tyler showing that he is the pilot, and I'll point this out with each track that mentions this. This track actually feels like it could have been on one of his previous albums. The style is quite different from many of the others on this album with its heavy synths, and synths have always played a major role in Tyler's music. So now we finally come to one half of the tracks that stood out the most on this album in a major way. Tyler has said that Stevie Wonder was a huge inspiration for this album and even tried to get him on it, to which he refused. Still, Tyler managed to create a track that's much in the same vein as Wonder's. Find Your Wings is a jazz track that features legendary vibraphonist Roy Ayers, whose work on this track really brings out the flavor and sincerity. The mixture of live instrumentation, singing, keyboards, vibraphone, horns, everything easily makes this one of my favorite tracks on the entire album. The intro to this track has been said to remind a lot of people of the kind of intro Stevie Wonder would have during his classic period, namely on tracks like Superwoman from Music of My Mind. The track is, again, saying that you need to take control of your life, and even says that you're the pilot, which references the track Pilot, and to find your wings and fly. The song also states to not let your high get your brain low. This is important because Tyler has come out numerous times saying that he doesn't smoke pot, even saying that people will need to put that stuff down now and then. Now, if Find Your Wings was sweet and gentle, the title track Cherry Bomb is as aggressive and as in-your-face as anything could be. As I said earlier, this track was the biggest offender to the sound problem, but Tyler has stated that this is the way that he wants people to hear the record. In fact, he originally didn't want to record verses at all, but decided to throw them in and didn't turn up the vocals. At the very beginning, Tyler says he just made this song to perform, and he doesn't even know how to perform it. I feel the song is similar to Tamale from the previous album Wolf in a way, because he said many times in live performances of the song that he just wants to see people go crazy when the bass drops. He also says that he is a god, which is an obvious reference to Kanye West's song of the same name, where he too claims that he is a god. Simply, this track is all about standing out and not letting anything get in your way, Pilot. The entire track itself bears a striking resemblance to the work of experimental hip-hop group Death Grips because of its heavily distorted sound. Many people have pointed this out, and for a lot of people, this is the worst track on the album because of the heavy distortion. However, for people like me that actually like Death Grips and experimental and weird music in general, I quite enjoyed this track. Yes, it definitely took me a good couple listens before I really got into it, but it's one I jam out to every now and then. It's as explosive as an actual Cherry Bomb, hence the name, and Tyler's attitude towards people who try to get in his way. Below My Load is an easy one. It's simply about Tyler wanting to have oral sex with a girl, specifically English fashion model, and I might butcher this name, Cara Delevingne or Delevingne. Apparently he saw a picture of her and decided then and there that he wanted to eat her out. Well, that's what this track is all about. Very graphic, descriptive sexual acts. The beat is extremely cool and relaxed, making it all the better a listen. This is also exemplified by the appearance of Wanya Morris of the R&B group Boyz II Men, who I'm sure you've all heard of, who's just improvising over the beat. It's extremely soulful, especially during the interlude, which features Sid the Kid harmonizing over the heavy synth-laden R&B groove. The very end sees Shane Powers coming back advertising for Gulf Radio and doing the classic "be the ex-caller to win tickets to a movie" thing, giving it a very realistic feeling. This review is getting pretty long, but there's just so much to talk about with this record. It's really hard to skimp over things when there's so much going on with this project, and Two Seater has quite a bit going for it. The first half is just talking about how much Tyler loves riding in his Bimmer with his girl, making a whole slew of car references. During the bridge section, it's made clear that while Tyler loves driving really fast, his girl is more concerned about how fast he's going, perhaps in terms of the car and the relationship. This comes up again during the first skit right before the second half of the track entitled Hair Blows. The skit sees Tyler's girl turning the music down in his car, asking him to roll the window up because it's windy. Tyler's rather upset that she's more focused on her hair than the adventure they're having, and tells her that he loves it when her hair blows, leading into the second, more soulful half of the track. This section is based on an actual experience Tyler had with a fashion model named Bella Hadid. It's simply talking about how Tyler loves when her hair blows in the wind while he's driving. The final section of the track is another skit and sees Tyler and his girl going to the movie theater to see the movies that were advertised in the previous track. This section features Lionel Boyce and one of Tyler's friends, Errol, who were working the ticket booth. Once Errol sees Tyler and his girl walking up, he exclaims his extreme dislike to Lionel, who's very reluctant to say anything, of course. Once Tyler and his girl are actually at the booth, Errol pretends to be friendly and caring towards Tyler, but as soon as he leaves, he once again starts talking bad about him behind his back. This is a good example of how fame changes the people you hang around, and how jealousy can be a huge negative in success. Now, this next track was purposely given a really long name as a joke. According to Tyler, they're originally going to call the track The Brown Stains of Black East Latifah, Parts 6 through 12, The Remix, Rough Draft, Club Edit, Rodney Jerkins Mix. But cut it down more or less to just The Brown Stains of Black East Latifah, Parts 6 through 12, The Remix. In this track, Tyler's talking about how he's not into the whole drug-dealing trapping scene and hates how it's being glorified a lot in hip-hop today. Schoolboy Q also gets a verse on this track, rapping about how much of a true gangster he is, and if you mess with him, he'll end you. The beat is extremely heavy and has a huge amount of that West Coast influence with its high-pitched synths and aggressive style. Tyler and Schoolboy are kind of creating a parallel line between each other, where Tyler doesn't live that kind of life that Schoolboy does, but allows him to talk about it on the same track, where he's dissing that kind of life of a thug. For people who bought the physical copies of this album, like I did, they get an extra hidden track within The Brown Stains of Black East Latifah called Special. It's more of Tyler being the pilot and saying that he doesn't need drugs to be creative. He follows the beat of his own drum and prefers to be a leader rather than a follower sheep. The next track focuses more on Tyler's romantic side. To avoid a whole lot of vulgarity in this video, I'll refer to the track as Effing Young if it's all the same to you guys. Anyways, this track, which features R&B singer Charlie Wilson, has Tyler lamenting over the fact that there is this girl he really likes, but she's 6 years younger than he is, and because of her being a minor, he's paranoid about getting arrested for being with her. It's highly soul R&B influenced, according to Tyler, draws a lot of influence from Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions album. The second half of this track is called Perfect, which is sung from the girl's perspective through the Colombian singer Kali Uchis. It's very beautiful and soulful, and basically says that she thinks he's perfect for her, despite the age gap. Finally, we come to arguably the best track on the album, Smuckers. This track drew in a lot of hype when it was revealed who was going to be on it. On this track, we have Tyler, the Creator, and two of hip-hop's biggest stars, Kanye West and Lil Wayne. Tyler has worked with Lil Wayne before, and Kanye and Lil Wayne have worked together numerous times, but Tyler's never really worked with Kanye besides performing together, and this is the first time all three of them have worked together simultaneously. What Tyler wanted from both Kanye and Wayne on this track is late registration era Kanye and early 2000s Wayne, and that's exactly what he got. The beat fits what's going on in the song, and I can absolutely hear this beat on an album like Late Registration or The Carter 2 or 3. The first half is Tyler and Kanye, where they're mostly just hyping up and having some fun over the beat, making pop culture references like usual, talking about all different kinds of things like how New Zealand banned Odd Future from performing there, the supposedly racist Mountain Dew commercial, Nike, and just being great. After Tyler and Kanye trade it off, then Tyler and Wayne go back and forth while the beat changes, adding a new perspective to the song, making it all together really great. This is easily my favorite track on the album, and a lot of people have felt the same way. The wordplay is beyond outstanding, especially from Lil Wayne. Lines like, "I'm staring at a tramp on lean," make my eye jump. It's really crazy, and I love every second of it. Oh, we're finally coming near the end of the record, so let's see if we can wrap this up quickly. Keep to O's is a track where Tyler gets to work with another one of his idols, Pharrell, who both decided to alter their voices on this track to make them more high-pitched. On this track, Tyler speaking directly to his ego about how he doesn't want to live a life of someone who gets by on dealing drugs. On the second half, it refers back to the track Find Your Wings and doing what you love to do. The beat change is rather abrupt, but the song is pretty cool altogether. The final track on the main album is Okauga CA, or Okauga California, a soul-influenced track which simply talks about Tyler wanting to take his special woman with him on his life adventure. A really pretty track right before the additional track that only came with the physical copies of the album, Yellow. Tyler frequently mentions the color yellow as a metaphor for his aura, and how it's a positive color reflecting his personality. A relatively short track that just expands more on what was being said during tracks like Effing Young and the previous track Okauga CA, about Tyler being in love with the special someone. This track again features Kali Uchis, and I find it a perfect way to end the album with a blend of R&B, soul, jazz, and even psychedelic rock added in. Overall, this was a very long review, I know, but honestly, there was a whole lot to talk about. Tyler has truly showed his stuff through this album, and it's safe to say that this album will only cement his legacy. I really did enjoy this album a whole lot. I've been listening to it quite a bit, especially in my car whenever I'm driving somewhere. Each track had something that made it really special. The samples were incredible and very, very fitting. And really, the only negative I have for this album was indeed the mixing on some tracks. I mean, I can understand that this is the way he wanted the album to be made, but not hearing what he's saying can be a tad bothersome. It probably didn't bother me as much as it did some other people, because like I said, I like weird music like that, but still. My favorite tracks had to be Buffalo, Pilot, Find Your Wings, Two-Seater, Effing Young and Perfect, Smuckers, and Okauga California, and Yellow, of course. The other tracks were pretty tight, but didn't catch my attention as much as some of the other ones did, especially the ones that had more of a soul jazz influence to them. Like I said before, if your favorite album before this one was Wolf, or you're really just into jazz, rap, or soul and R&B, I think it'd be really easy for you to enjoy this album, albeit it might take you a couple listens. But if your favorites were Bastard or Goblin, you might find it difficult to enjoy this particular project. Even so, I definitely recommend you check this out for yourself if you haven't already. Anyways, I want to thank you all for watching this very lengthy review. I will do my best to cut them down shorter without, skimping over too many things. But anyways, if there's an album or a song that you want to see reviewed that you like or recommend, just leave a comment down below or hit me up on my Facebook or my Twitter. The links are in the description, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I possibly can. If you like this video, please hit that like button and show your support. Also subscribe if you want to see more. But anyways, that does it for this review. This is the Alfred Avenger. I will see you all in the next video. So long.